we go, side by side. Green, green, green. Great start for Pato O'Ward, and as I said, down to the bottom of the racetrack. Look at this run here for Victor Franzoni. He'll come to the inside. Look out, here comes Santi Urrutia trying to go to second.
4 wide into that first turn. Here's where it gets a little dicey, and all of a sudden a move from the third spot to the first spot.
Pato O'Ward overcooked it going in. He got pressured from the inside. He had Santi Urrutia in the right mirror. He had, I believe, Colton Herta in the left mirror. He had Victor Franzoni there as well. And an uncharacteristic mistake, Jerry, for Patricio O'Ward. He's going to try to get a good run and go by Dalton Kellett to try to get a spot back. But he falls all the way to 4th position on the opening lap, and that puts, I believe, Santi Urrutia into the lead.
Now, what this does from a spectator standpoint, it kind of adds some excitement to this whole situation. He doesn't want to be back there, but from a spectator standpoint, it'll be fun to watch him work his way up front.
Agreed. I'm all for just inverting the field every time they come out, so you get the fast guys in the back. And you're going to see Pato start to work his way forward. And even look at this battle further back. That's actually Colton Herta. He fell way back as well. He's trying to battle with his teammate Dalton Kellett. So Kellett and look at Kellett looking to the inside again, coming through turn number 13. So those are the three of the 4 Andretti cars battling it out. And in fact, I want to say the Andretti cars are now running 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th. Indeed they are. They're the tail of the grid. Santi Urrutia for Bilardi Auto Racing out front.
Well, our first concern was going to get through turn 1. They did that okay, with nobody getting shunted out of the race, but what it did was it really shuffled the field big time.
It was a definite shuffle because we got the driver who started on the outside of the front row, just back now to 5th, able to get by his teammate Dalton Kellett. You've got Colton Herta starting on the off pole. He goes all the way back. Santi Urrutia, he started in row 2. He started in row 3. He ends up leading the race. And this is very similar to what happened, Jerry, at St. Petersburg in the second round, where Pato O'Ward led early. We're going to have another look at the replay on the big screen here, folks. Oh, you know what? That was actually Victor Franzoni getting into the back of Pato O'Ward. You saw the car kind of rotate a little bit. It's not that Pato overshot. Victor Franzoni probably a little late on the brakes. We're going to get a really good picture of it here. Franzoni trying to tuck up. He's getting pressured on both sides. Look at that, right into the gearbox. Right into the rear attenuator as Franzoni pressured on the right and the left by Herta and Urrutia, overcooks the braking zone. He gets into the back of Pato O'Ward. Tough one there for both Pato O'Ward and Victor Franzoni. But the benefactor, Santiago Urrutia. As I was saying, at St. Petersburg, Pato had the lead in race number 2. He overcooked turn number 4, drove off into the runoff, handing the lead to Urrutia. Essentially the same thing has happened here, where Santi, not the fastest driver on the racetrack, finds himself in the lead again early on.
All right, Rob, now a question. These cars are almost identical. At least they're designed to be that way. Horsepower, everything else. The question now, if you're the leader, Pato, and you have dropped back into the 4th spot, how do you make up that difference without somebody up front making some kind of a mistake?
I'm going to say that's a 3-part question. First off, yeah, it's a spec series. Same engines, same chassis, same wheels, same tires, same everything, except for the people that are working on it. Obviously, it's your engineer that you're working with. It's the driver and how he talks to his engineer to get the setup they want. In a long race as well, you can make a car go really fast over the first 5 laps, but it's going to be slow at the end, or vice versa. You can make it a handful at the start, midway through the race it comes on, and it's fantastic at the end.
Yeah, it's part of that what the driver wants also?
To a certain extent, almost every team's going to want the car to get better at the end. If you start further back, you may want a better car early, so you can get up there to the middle of the pack or the front and then defend for the rest of the race. But the bottom line is you want the car to be good midway through and then, of course, solid at the end. Where this kind of plays in the question you ask, what can Pato do here? He's outright the fastest driver. He qualifies on the pole and he knows that. He knows that he's going to be able to work his way back and trust in the car. I guarantee you his engineer and strategist is on the radio talking to him. But one of the cool things about Pato is he's 19 years of age, and you hit on it early. He has developed over the last number of years. He almost won the Pro Mazda Championship 2 years ago. Wasn't able to do it. Did a little bit of Indy Lights racing last year, now a full-time ride this year. He has matured, he's got poise, and even in an earlier interview coming into this weekend, he told the series folks to give the quote when they were talking about the preview, that he understands he's leading the points. And yes, he wants the win, but if it's not in the cards, he'll take the points. Pato last year wouldn't have did that. Pato 2 years ago wouldn't have did that. But the more mature Patricio Award realizes that banking some points is all he needs to do right now.
That takes a mature driver to look at it with that frame of mind.
Well, you come out of the box with 3 wins in 4 races, you have that luxury, but still a tremendous concept in terms of being able to just relax. Well, we are watching Pato close up here on Aaron Telitz, though. He is right there with him now. Jerry, let's see if we try and move at the end of the straightaway. Also, the leaders, Franzoni closing up on Santiarutti as well, but the fast lap just went to Colton Herta. He's now about 0.4 of a second behind Pato Award, so that's a great battle there too. Look at that's the fight on the big screen for 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
Now, it's not really a surprise, Rob, that Urrutia is up there, because if you go back and look at the 4 races this year, he was 2nd the first race at St. Pete. He won the 2nd race down in St. Petersburg. He was 3rd in the first race at Barbara Motorsports Park, and then was 5th, I guess it was, down at the 2nd race down there. He's had the credentials to get himself up front, and obviously has the ability now to perhaps hang on to that spot.
It's really interesting talking about Santiarutti, again, the driver from Uruguay. He was the runner-up in the championship the last 2 years. So he demands victory from himself. I mean, if he's not on top of the top step, he's not a happy man on the podium whatsoever. But that said, the consistency that he's had, even he hasn't been the outright fastest guy yet this year, but he stayed out of trouble. He hasn't been in the wrecks. He hasn't made any mistakes. And now he's got 4 great results to start the season off. In the other 2 seasons he raced, Jerry, he's never had this good a start. So it's surprising, even though the speed isn't there, he's in a great place in points.
It's interesting, coming into this season, prior to the 4 races so far, he had earned 16 podiums and 24 career Indy Lights starts. That shows me consistency.
Very much so. And the great thing about Santi, and it's going to play for him well if he can hold to where he is in the top 2 or 3 in points, he's a finisher. He's a awesome second half guy. He really starts to put everything together in the second half. We've seen that. He won last year on the Oval at Gateway, rather. He won as well in years past and other races later in the season. That's for him to be able to get through the first half of the season cleanly. He's going to be a threat when we start going to the the races at Watkins, rather at Mid-Ohio, at Gateway, at Portland.
You were talking about last year. He missed the champions title you referenced us a while ago by 20 points. He had 4 wins, 3 poles, a total of 7 podiums, and qualified 1st or 2nd in each of the final 5 races. He got better as the year grew older.
Yeah, pretty solid resume for Santiarutti. And to be honest, he was doing everything he could in the offseason to try to get himself into the Verizon IndyCar Series. He had significant backing. I just don't think quite enough to be able to secure a seat. He was in talks with a number of people. Here we got to move for, I believe that's Colton Herta going to go by. Pato Award locks up that left front. Will he overshoot? He does. And Pato's going to go back around the outside. Give it to Herta, though, for really pushing hard. He's trying to get by his teammate because I think at this point, Pato looks to be holding him up. He's the fastest driver on the track, Colton Herta. Made a good move to the inside coming into turn 1, but just locked up that left front. And we'll see if that affects him. If he flat spotted that tire, that could be a lot of rough going for the remainder of this race.
Last time by the start-finish line, the award was 3.2 seconds behind the leader, Urrutia. Herta was 3.4, so literally neck and neck going across the start-finish line.
Pato, I think, saw that one coming. We got the replay on the big screen as he could see Colton coming down the inside. Of course, the spotter telling him that Pato checked up early. Colton just overcooked a little bit. That allowed Pato just to turn in early, get back on the throttle, and roll back over to turn number 2. So the first over-under defense for Patricio Award, but I guarantee you Colton Herta is going to be coming back again.
Now, the previous 4 or 5 laps prior to the last couple that we've seen here, Urrutia was running about a half a second in front of Franzoni. He had kicked that up over a second. Now it's at 9/10 of a second. So Urrutia running an awfully good line and not only maintaining that difference, but adding to it.
Yeah, one of the things we'll start looking at now that we're about 7 laps into this, we'll start looking at lap times, whether they're falling, whether they're staying consistent. Quick lap time so far, I believe still Colton Herta with the fast time. We'll continue to watch that because Pato Award now has some breathing room. For a while, he had Colton Herta behind him. let's see what happens. Let's see if he can start focusing forward. But really, unlike what we've seen this year, it's probably the first time all year we haven't seen one of the Andretti cars in the top 3. Right now, it's Santi Urrutia, Victor Franzoni, and Aaron Telitz. Both Urrutia and Telitz in those familiar red and white Velarde cars. Franzoni in the Soul Red Mazda sponsorship car, Mazda sponsored car, last year's Pro Mazda champion. They run 1, 2, 3. O'Ward, Herta, Norman, and Kellett, all 4 Andretti cars at the tail of the field.
Looking back to last year in the Grand Prix races here at the Speedway, in the race number 1, Urrutia started 5th and finished 7th, and in race number 2 started 4th and finished 2nd in that race right behind Kyle Kaiser. I say right behind. It was a race where Kaiser won by 6 seconds. And in the other race, Urrutia was on 11, almost 12 seconds behind the winner, Nico Yamin. And so he's been here, done that. He's got a feel for the track, and right now he's putting it to good use.
Yeah, there's the pass there for Colton Herta, finally able to get by Pato O'Ward, made another good move, this time successful. Learned from that last pass where I think he probably went just a little too deep on the braking. He had Pato on the outside, didn't need to take the braking that late, probably would have got the move done. And I'll tell you, that shows some maturity right there for Colton. He made the mistake, came back, tried it again, and this time got the job done. So count Colton Herta now up in the 4th spot. He'll go to work, seeing if he can't reel in Aaron Telitz.
Now, what's on Urrutia's mind right now? Not just his mind, but the pit crew, the mechanics, etc. What are they thinking right now? Just keep it where you got it and keep an eye on who's behind it?
Well, Tim Neff, a veteran engineer, worked for Schmidt-Peterson Motorsports for many years, moved over to Velarde Auto Racing with Santi last year. He's been with Santi through his entire 3-year Indy Lights career. And the funny thing about Santi Urrutia is he's pretty quiet on the radio if the car's good. If he's out front, he's not going to talk. Tim's going to chat with him a little bit. He'll just say sweet things to him on the radio, and that's it. Santi doesn't talk. He's the kind of guy that puts his head down, knocks out the laps, lap after lap. Again, another 118 flat for Santi Urrutia. He's got 9/10 of a second up on Victor Franzoni, although all the 3 drivers behind him, Franzoni, Telitz, and Herta, all just a little bit, maybe a 10th quicker that last time by.
Well, Franzoni's not been able to make up any ground. In fact, I mentioned earlier, he's lost about a half a second to Urrutia. When does the frustration factor start to kick in here? We're on lap number 11 and 21 laps to go. You sit there for a while if you're the guys in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot and just kind of bide your time?
You know, I don't know if you just sit there. You don't want to overcook the tires, number 1. You know, you need to figure out midway through the race whether or not your car is quicker than the leader. If you're a 10th quicker, you don't need to keep pushing. You can just cut those times, laps down. I'm sure the team is sending the splits every time they come across. They know exactly how far back they are. If they're making up time, even if it's a 10th or 2 at a time, that's good enough. You don't need to overcook the tires. Tire management here for sure. We're talking about a 30-lap race. They'll go even longer for race number 2 tomorrow morning. But we're in the high heat of the day now. It's not like it was earlier when it was nice and cool. We're talking 84 degrees, track temperature anywhere between, 115 and 123, 124. So it's going to push these tires. Santi Urrutia needs to take care because he's got now Victor Franzoni putting a ton of pressure on that. 1 second advantage, Jerry, down to about a length.
Got it back down to a half a second now. I'm not sure exactly where he picked that up, if Urrutia had a problem somewhere or not, but it's down to a half a second right now.
No, as I said, I was going to start watching times, and Santi Urrutia is going in the wrong direction. A 118.3. He's going to go on the defense now. He'll go to the bottom of the track. He moves out a little bit. Here comes Franzoni on the outside, Jerry. Victor's got to get way out of it, and that is going to help Aaron Telitz. So Victor Franzoni took a great run on the outside coming down Holman Boulevard to turn number 7. Santi defended to the inside. Victor tried the outside. That's a tough place to make the pass. I almost would have liked to have seen Victor kind of hold the spot that close and then make the pass down in turn number 1. Oh, there's some contact potentially. Victor Franzoni off over in turn number 12 on the entry back into the infield. Franzoni went off. I don't know if there was contact between he and Aaron Telitz in the number 9, but as they turned in to turn number 12, coming back off the short chute, the right hand leads down into turn 12. All of a sudden, Franzoni went off. Here's a pass, a battle for the 2nd position. Herta trying to go on the outside of Telitz, and he's got it done. What a beautiful pass. There's deep move there. That was Norman trying to go to the inside of Pato. So turn one, let's put all the excitement on the lap number 12, Jerry.
It's getting a little exciting here all of a sudden. Telitz, when they came by last time, was 1.7 behind Urrutia, but they moved up into the number 2 spot. Herta 1.8. They're literally nose to tail right now.
Colton Herta with a really good move on the outside. Here comes Norman trying to do the same thing to Pato in turn 7. Not quite enough, but that pass by Colton got a good run down the straightaway, used the toe, used the push to pass, went to the outside, Jerry, and got the pass done before he even turned into the apex.
All right, here's the standings. Urrutia is out in front, 1.7 seconds ahead of Telitz. Herta is 1.8 seconds behind Urrutia. Then O'Ward, Norman, Franzoni, and Kellett. Kellett really having some trouble up there. He's 15 seconds off the lead.
That was a replay on the big screen of Ryan Norman trying to go by. Here it is, another shot. Going to the apex, locks up the right front, and you know what? Kudos to Pato O'Ward for seeing it coming, because he gave enough room, kept the car to the outside, and luckily there was no contact at the exit. So there we're lining them up once again. That is going to be 4th, 5th, and 6th on the big screen. The 27 Pato O'Ward, your point leader, 3 times a winner this year. Ryan Norman in the number 48, and Victor Franzoni in the number 23, last year's Pro Mazda champion.
You mentioned, Rob, that O'Ward is a kind of a driver that will drive for points because he realizes how significant they are coming to the end of the season. But my question to you is, he's lost that pole position down at the number 1 turn. He fell to 4th. He is still there. When does the frustration factor start to work on him? Because right now he's some 4.5 seconds behind.
To be honest, I think he needs to gather himself up now. I can't say that his car is that bad. He qualified on the pole, looked very good in the practice sessions. I don't know if they just missed a setup. They maybe try to change for the race. Otherwise, Pato's been fast all weekend long. I have to think that, is there damage to the back of the car after Franzoni got into the back of him? That's a possibility, but you know, what would it do if you hit the rear attenuator? The gearbox seems to be working fine at this point. It's not like he's down on shifting. He's still good through the infield section of the track. Again, Norman right up underneath him as they work their way down into 1. And for Franzoni, he just needs to put his head down, start hitting down good laps, because to be honest, rather for O'Ward, P4 is fine for him right now. He doesn't need to win. He doesn't even need the podium. A 4th place finish is good. Get out of here with a 4th and come back tomorrow.
Yeah, you tell him that after it's all over. I'm sure he would want to argue that point with you. He's not happy with that 4th. He'll take it right now.
Yes. He's holding on now, though, because Ryan Norman's putting a ton of pressure on him. Pato running that defensive line down into turn number 7.
I like your thought, though. He appears to be, to me, getting the best he can get out of that car at this particular point. Now, my question to you is, are there adjustments within the cockpit of that car that he can make to try to overcome some deficiencies?
Yeah, they can work. There's a small window where they can adjust the bars, the sway bars inside the car, but not as much, of course, in the Verizon Indy car, but they can make some changes. I'm sure if there's any issues, normally the guys are they've already got it to the very absolute maximum of the adjustment. They want to go more, but they can't.
So you get a sense then that what he's got is what he's got.
I would agree with you completely. I think he's got his battle. That's what he's got. Battle it out and see what you can do. Here's that battle now. Herta trying to go for the lead on the outside. This is the fight for the lead now in Indy Lights. It is Santi Urrutia versus Colton Herta. 3rd-year driver versus 2nd-year driver, currently sitting 2nd and 3rd in points respectively. Colton Herta has not yet won here in 2018. He won 2 races last year, and he would like to get that first win in the books. Here goes the defensive move to the inside for Urrutia. He'll move back out a little bit. Herta's going to try the outside again. So Colton Herta, this is where he needs to show the poise now, because he's got a faster race car. He was 3/10 quicker last time by. We'll be at the halfway point next time by, Jerry. 15 down, 15 to go in this 30-lapper for Indy Lights, and here we come when they get back onto the front straightaway. Watch for Colton Herta to activate the push to pass. Doesn't have a lot left, but he'll use it now to try to get himself into the lead. Pato O'Ward already out of push to pass. That could be interesting with Ryan Norman behind him. Santi's got lots still. He's got 20 A push to pass. He'll go to the bottom of the track. That's almost a double move. Here goes Herta around the outside again. Herta's going to go for the lead, and he's got it. Around the outside goes Colton Herta. But now, three activations still for Colton Herta. Full push to pass still for Santi Urrutia. Let's see if he's able to leverage that to get himself back up to Colton, although we have a new leader.
Colton Herta did not finish on the podium in the first race at St. Pete. Yes, he did. He finished third in that particular race. Herta then in second spot of the Barber race number 1. So he's got a couple of podiums to his credit so far, and right now he's sitting pretty up there to get a real nice spot on the podium.
Colton, if you think about it, having what early, he fell all the way back to, I think, 6th position, but he has fully used up his push to pass to get himself back up there. Similar, Pato O'Ward is out of push to pass, and he's got Ryan Norman behind him with lots still to come. Ryan's going to have to get himself into the position, use that push to pass on the front straightaway, and make that move once and for all if he's going to get by Pato O'Ward. Herta up front. The key, I think, now is whether or not Santi Urrutia can get close. You have to be close enough within a second to be able to activate push to pass. It's 1.1 now. So Colton Herta did a great job. Just turned a very fast lap, 1:17.5, well quicker than Santi Urrutia.
All right, we're in lap number 19 right now.
Still 14 to go. 16 down, 14 to go. And this is a fantastic battle for that 4th, 5th, and 6th positions on track. O'Ward in the 27, Norman in the 48, and Franzoni in the 23. So Franzoni now trying to go to work on Norman. This is going to stop Norman from being so aggressive on O'Ward because he's got to worry about his position now. He's got to worry about Franzoni.
Yeah, I stand corrected. I said 19 and 6. We're in 17th lap right now.
Franzoni out of push to pass. O'Ward's out of push to pass as well. Santi Urrutia's got to see if he can't get himself back into that 1 second window to be able to activate the push to pass again. On the big screen, replay of the pass. Herta to the outside, exactly what he did to Tielitz. Look at that pass. Urrutia trying to go as deep as he could, locked up the fronts. Not enough.
Actually, a pretty wise move on Urrutia's part because he could have lost everything right then.
That was close. He could have taken both of those drivers out, and Aaron Tielitz would have found himself in the lead.
So the lead is just over 1 second, 1.2 for Colton Herta.
Jerry, 13 laps to go. Herta was quicker by just a 10th last time by. Extends the advantage to 1.29. So still longer or further out than that 1 second distance you have to use push to pass.
I made reference to the age of Pato O'Ward being 19, and you referenced the fact that he's one of the older guys out there. Herta, who's out in front right now, turned 18 on the 20th of March. So a lot of young talent on that racetrack out there.
Not so much in this category, actually. We do have some of the older drivers. You go to Pro Mazda, we got a 15-year-old, we got a 16-year-old, a 17-year-old. Most of the drivers here in Indy Lights anywhere between 18 and about 23 or 24 years old. These drivers all just one step away from the Verizon IndyCar Series. We saw Kyle Kaiser win here last year. He's going to, of course, running here this weekend, and will try to qualify for the Indianapolis 500 next week.
Yeah, I think that's something we've talked about, you and I have talked about over the last couple of years, Rob. These guys are not only trying to win races and pick up points and win championships, they're in fact auditioning for the Andretti's and the people of that ilk.
Yeah, not even just trying to win that scholarship, which puts them in the series, but really, you know, they're in front of the Michael Andretti's and the Chip Ganassi's and the Roger Penske's and the Ed Carpenters. You know, these guys are watching. Sam Schmidt, we know, he watches big time the Indy Lights races, and he watches the entire Mazda Road to Indy. They want to see these young drivers coming up. They want to see that they can win. They want to see that they can be good off the racetrack as well.
Right. In fact, that off the racetrack has become more and more significant as the years have gone by.
So crucial. Huge battle here between the two drivers of Belardi Auto Racing. Aaron Tielitz again. We talked about his issues early. A massive shunt in qualifying for race number 1 in St. Petersburg. Destroyed the car. His team got a spare car from Carlin, rebuilt it. He ended up getting in an incident with Victor Franzoni on the opening lap of the second race. then got caught up in a Dalton Kellett spin the opening lap of the Barber Motorsports Park race, the first of the two. Did not finish a race till round number 3. He needs to claw back points, and he needs to get by his teammate now. Tielitz, though, no push to pass. But he really would like to get by Santi and get those second place points. Colton Herta, 2.6 seconds out front. You know, Jerry, one of the things about Colton after last year in the offseason, his focus was, there's outright speed for Colton. The focus was eliminate those mistakes, minimize the little errors you make as a younger driver. Of course, 17 years old last year in Indy Lights. He's since turned 18. He made a minor mistake while running second at St. Petersburg and stuck it in the wall in race number 2, I believe. You don't need to do that. You know, Colton's the kind of guy that once he realizes that he can finish second, he's going to find himself winning more races and actually probably winning more championships. And right now, this win here, if he's able to bring it home, would be absolutely massive. Going to potentially put him back into the point lead as well. This is a great start for this young driver.
He was Rookie of the Year last year. He finished third in the Indy Lights Series, won 2 races, and led the series in poles. He had 7 of them. Had a series high 143 laps, earned a total of 7 podium finishes, and set 5 new track records last year. The credentials are there.
Yeah, I like that resume, right? He was patented all year long. Came up just short, but that's because some of the drivers we had do so well. Kyle Kaiser, who won the championship, he scored the win here at the GP, but he also was unbelievably consistent. It was his 3rd year in the series, flat out didn't make any mistakes. Kyle Kaiser had the championship essentially won when he rolled off the grid. He rolled off the grid at the finale at Watkins Glen, and that's what every one of these drivers want to do. They want to clinch it early, and you want to win races because every driver will tell you, I win races, points take care of themselves. But finishing second, finishing 6th, and not 16th, that's what wins a championship.
Just looking back at last year's 2 races here, we had 14 cars in each of those races, and Herta finished 12th in the first race and then finished 10th in the second race. So he didn't pick up any points, but he gained a lot of experience.
Experience is great, but he came out of the box thinking he could win the championship. He won one of the races at St. Petersburg, the second race. He was strong at Barber as well. This weekend just didn't go to his plan. And again, that's the issue we're talking about is the fact that there were races where he made little mistakes and finished down the order. He is battling his way back up here right now, doing well.
We've had 23 passes so far in the race. The average speed is just over 112 miles an hour. The race record is 115.954, set by Felix Rosenquist back in 2016.
Watching this battle up front here now. Actually, this is for second and third as Santi Urrutia and Aaron Tielitz looking good in the 2 Velarde Auto Racing entries. They'd love to have a couple of podium finishes here because, again, we talked about St. Petersburg and having to totally rebuild the car for Aaron Tielitz. That was a down moment. That was a low moment at one point on Saturday. They come back Sunday and Santi wins, but Aaron had wrecked again, so it was a hot and cold day. Couple of podium finishes here, although not the victory that Brian Velarde would like. I think they'll take the points and move to Saturday's second race.
It's interesting to me that Herta, who started second, and as you pointed out, got shuffled out of the pack at that first corner down there, had to work his way back up. And once he got into the lead, Rob, he's just continued to extend the lead, 3.6 seconds right now.
It's interesting to me the difference in speeds. Herta was obviously so quick there midway. Pato O'Ward kind of got hung up in that battle, wasn't able to get clear track, was thinking about the guys behind him. Colton just looked forward, and he was going from the very get-go. Again, we may find out that there's some damage on O'Ward's car because he just didn't have that pace for a bit, but he's back to turning 117.9. He was actually the fastest driver that last lap. So let's say no mechanical errors, no issues, no damage to O'Ward. Probably just got hung up and maybe got in his head a little bit battling with the guys further back.
So again, here's the way they lined up. Herta is first, Urrutia is second, some 3.9 seconds behind. Tielitz third, then O'Ward, Norman, Franzoni, and Kellett. That's the way the 7 cars line up right now in the Indy Lights Series race. number 1. If there is some kind of damage on O'Ward's car, you pointed out that he's running quick laps right now. They've got time to get that fixed before race number 2.
He's so fast right now, I don't think there's much damage.
I agree.
Maybe just an issue with the rear attenuator, which is that the safety piece that you put on the back of the gearbox. That's probably going to be it for Pato O'Ward. A 1:17.95. He was 3 or 4 hundredths of a second quicker than the leader last time by. So I don't think any issues with Pato other than maybe just getting a little caught up in the action, caught up in the battle he was in. He went on defense mode instead of going on offense, because Colton definitely went on the offense. He went by Pato, reeled in everybody, and just started knocking them off one at a time.
Well, right now we're pretty much stabilizing the positions on the race course with 7 laps to go. And now that lead goes up to 4.3 seconds.
I think the best battle, obviously, between Santi Urrutia and Aaron Telitz, but Ryan Norman, again, trying to close back up on Pato O'Ward. That deal's not quite done yet, as Norman was quicker by a couple of tenths last time by. He's only back by, what, 9/10 of a second. Let's see, Norman's got a little bit of push to pass left, so does Urrutia. But again, Pato trying to hold off Norman. Urrutia's going to try to hold off Telitz. Fairly similarly posting speeds. 18.1 for Urrutia, 18.2 for Telitz, 18.1 for O'Ward, 17.9 for Ryan Norman. 7 laps remaining here in our first of 2 Indy Lights races this weekend. I'll tell you, it's only a 3rd place finish, Jerry, but I think Aaron Telitz will be very pleased with being able to come home. It'll be his first podium of the year. It won't be a wreck. He's had a couple of those already. He came off a strong 4th place finish, his first actual finish of the year in race number 2 at Barber. To be able to go back-to-back finished races, this time on the podium, I think it'll be a big relief. And knowing it as well that the point leader's behind him.
He finished 6th in his rookie Indy Lights season. Had victories in the season opener at St. Pete and then the finale at Watkins Glen. So he's been there and done that. The youngster out of Rice Lake, Wisconsin. Aaron Telitz in the number 9 car.
Great thing about Aaron is that he has worked his way all the way through the road to Indy. He ran a couple of years in USF 2000 as a young guy who has worked his butt off to find sponsorship. Doesn't come from a family with the money needed to go racing. He has actually put sponsorships together. Rice Lake Weighing Systems, one of the sponsors that's been with him for a long time on the side of the car. He has just diligently worked and was able to get himself into a ride in Indy Lights. His teammate, in Pro Mazda, his teammate in 2016 was Pato O'Ward. Went on a streak of 7 straight races with wins. Aaron Telitz was there in 2nd place saying, what have I got to do? I put together a deal. I got a great car. I won the first race of the year. I'm sitting 2nd, but I've just lost the last 7 races. Well, he got to North America, his home track, and he just turned it around. Won both races, went on a run to end the season. Pato had some bad luck, and Aaron found himself with a championship.
You mentioned
we wrapped it up.
The USF 2000. Quite a contrast because we only have 7 cars in this event. I was looking at the qualification lineup of the entries. We have 26 cars in the USF 2000 race, and that's coming up next. And that should be fun.
You know, Kevin Lee pointed it out. We've got 7 cars in USF 2000. We've got 14 cars in Pro Mazda double, and then essentially double the Pro Mazda field at 26 in USF 2000. And I think that's going to play well to the growth of Indy Lights. We're struggling a little bit with numbers. A brand new car in Pro Mazda this year. I think some people had some trepidation jumping into a brand new car. It's proven itself. It's an unbelievably fast machine and a great training ground for Indy Lights. So you're going to see probably 16 to 20 cars in Pro Mazda next year, and I would expect we'll see 12 plus, maybe even back to 16 in Indy Lights.
And while we're talking about USF 2000 and Indy Lights, let's don't forget that the big boys will be out here later on this afternoon for qualifications. And if you've not watched qualifications on a road course, they're very interesting because you really got to pay attention to your PA guys and the boards to find out who's doing what.
I love qualifying. I got a chance to be on pit lane with IndyCar Radio. It's just so dynamic because you watch those last couple of laps. And Bob Jenkins said it, you really don't even need to say anything over the last 1 minute, right? Because it's just so much is happening, and it ends up guys getting bumped out of the Fast 12 by hundredths of a second every time. We're interviewing these guys, and they can't believe that they're not in the Fast 12 by 100th of a second or 200ths of a second.
And then there's that little game, well, we're going to go out now, or we're going to wait a little while in this particular qualifying session. What are we going to do here? That's always fun to watch, too.
And some of the teams that maybe don't have the speed to go into the fast 12 will gamble and use a couple sets of reds, right? They'll make sure they get to the fast 12, so they start in the front 6 rows. You see guys that will gamble like that. Some guys want to hold those reds back. It's a strategy game. I love it.
So we are down now to about 4 laps to go of this particular event, and right now Colton Herta has put the rest of the field to sleep. 4.8 second lead over Santo Urrutia, and he's making it look easy right now.
Well, again, when we talk all the time about these young kids, whether it's at USF 2000 or Mazda or Indy Lights, you get that win, that first one under your belt for the year, even your career, but for the year, all of a sudden that buoys you back up. Colton was despondent after getting into the wall at St. Petersburg. He just couldn't believe he made that mistake. I tried to interview him for IndyCar Radio, and he just waved me off. He called me later and said, man, I was so fired up and so mad at myself, I just couldn't even talk to anybody. That's the low. But now, when you get a win here in Indianapolis, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, it's not, of course, on the big track, but it's here. This is the greatest race course in the world. It's here. You're winning at IMS. This could turn things around for Colton. I think that a win like this, a performance like this coming from deeper in the field, is going to really help his confidence.
Right now, he is very confident with a 4.5 second lead over Urrutia, and showing no signs of cutting that lead down at all. Urrutia is running about a 1:18.0, and that's pretty much what Telitz is running right now, likewise. A 1:18.0. In fact, there were 3, the front 4 all running the laps at about a 1:18.
We got down, into the 17.9s? Yep. Actually, Norman, 1:17.8 for Norman. Good lap time for Ryan Norman.
And he has a shot at getting O'Ward.
He's still a half a second back. He's got just a little push to pass left. Still 3 laps remaining. You know what he's doing? He's just chipping away at it. He was 3 or 4 tenths of a second last lap. He's only 5 tenths back. This could be an interesting finish.
He's running out of time. That's the only issue right now. Field pretty much spread out. It's up the main straight. We're heading to the north end of the track. And that hard right-hander up there.
Pato moves a little to the inside, trying to break the draft a bit on Norman. Look at Ryan Norman closing up here, Jerry. That's within maybe 3 or 4 car lengths now as they come through 1.
That's the best race on the course right now.
Agreed. We'll see the white flag next time by. Can Ryan Norman find his way by the point leader? What a difference a day makes. First 2 races of the year, Pato could have won all 4 of them, now struggling to keep himself at the top 5. Likewise, Aaron Telitz continues to put pressure on Santi Urrutia. The Polarity cars running in 2nd and 3rd. Colton Herta very good out front. 5 seconds the advantage. Colton will see the white flag when he rolls down back here onto the front straightaway. Andretti Steinbrenner Racing entry. We'll see the white. Here he comes. Got one of our guests from Royal Purple up in the flag stand to throw the checkered flag for it. That'll be Bob Wilt. That's a great place to watch the end of the race, throwing that checker.
I am impressed by Herta. He could have gotten himself in deep trouble in that first corner down there. Managed to come out of it okay, fell back a ways, and then just steadily drove himself to the front. Really nice effort on his part.
I think he'll look back at this as one of the drives of his career. Not a huge field, but to be able to come through these guys the way he did, going by his teammate, who he's in the middle of the battle with, and in the middle of that inter-team battle. You remember, they always say, if you're going to beat anybody, beat your teammate. And he has been beaten by Colton Herta, rather by Pato O'Ward, essentially in all 4 races. So this will be a big confidence boost for the young Californian.
He's managed to maintain that lead in the 4-second category for about the last half a dozen laps or so, and it's at 4.9 right now. And Urrutia's just got nothing for him at all. It's we pointed out, once he got to the front of the field, got that clean air, it's just been pedal to the metal of that 98 machine.
No challenge whatsoever here at the Grand Prix course at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. There's the team, they're pumped. Great run for Colton Herta. He wins by 5.15 seconds in the Royal Purple Synthetic Oil Indy Lights Grand Prix, supporting the Indiana chapter of the Lupus Foundation of America. Big win for Colton Herta. Santi Urrutia and Aaron Tielitz make it a Belardi 2-3. They put both of their drivers on the podium. Pato O'Ward able to hold off Ryan Norman. A race-long battle for that 4th position. O'Ward in 4th, Ryan Norman in 5th, Victor Franzoni in 6th, and Dalton Kellett crossing the line to cap off the 7 drivers. But Jerry, you said it, a big win for Colton Herta, huge for his confidence, refires the momentum for that young driver who came into the 2018 season with one thing in mind, and that was winning this championship.
And we focused on O'Ward because he was on the pole. He's been the big name so far this year.
Yep.
He got himself in the number 4 spot in that number 1 turn up there, and just could not make up any ground at all. In fact, he had to battle to stay in the number 4 spot.
That was the biggest surprise for me of that race because Pato qualified on the pole. He's been unbelievably quick all year and all weekend. He was quick yesterday in testing and practice. He was qualified on the pole, but then not able to capitalize. Of course, just that little bad luck. Franzoni getting to the back of him, deep braking into turn 1 at the start. He kind of wiggles and goes off. Everybody else rolls through. And again, the guy that really got hurt by it was Colton Herta. He was on the outside, took evasive maneuvers not to get collected. He ends up coming back through. A big run there for Colton Herta, the 2nd-generation driver. The Delta Energy Mokket-sponsored number 98 for Andretti Steinbrenner racing back in victory lane here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
The win in race 1 here at Indianapolis goes to Colton Herta. Tell me about that start, Colton.
That was hectic. Yeah, so I was going down into turn 1, didn't get the best of starts. My ratios were a bit different than Pato's, so I was kind of in between gears. So he got a good jump on me, and then Victor followed him, and I tried to get in the slipstream, but there wasn't enough room, and I would have had to cut off Victor. So yeah, just hung it out on the outside, and it's a tough place here to be on the outside going into turn 1. You always get screwed over, and that's what happened. I think Victor and Pato had a little bit of contact, and it moved Pato out of the way into me, and then we're just kind of hung out dry on the outside. So moved all the way back to last or second to last, wherever I was, and then it was a hard fight back.
And most importantly, do you see that you guys have the pace to continue this and get the win again tomorrow in race number 2?
I think obviously, yeah, we do. I could have gone quicker. I think I was just kind of conserving the tires, and I had a good enough gap. But yeah, for sure, there's another 2 or 3 tenths per lap in it for us. So it wasn't even everything that we had. So we can still show more, and I think, you know, if the circumstances were different for tomorrow's race, it's going to be a really close fight, and we'll have to show the pace.
Winning in Indianapolis, one word, what's it mean?
It's amazing.
Colton Herta, your winner here in round 5 of the 2018 season. Herta's your victor.